Hello folks, how are you doing? Okay, I have actually decided to create a few video series on programming in Java in the BlueJ environment, especially for those of you who attended my class and now wish to revise quickly just a couple of weeks before your exams. So you won't find these videos explaining concepts in detail if you're actually looking out for learning programming in BlueJ without attending a classroom session in programming in Java. So please don't complain or be disappointed or comment that these videos are not very exhaustive. The purpose of these videos is just intended to help you revise the concepts very quickly before your exams with hands-on programming exercise right now. Okay, now this first video is all about, what went wrong with this? I'm just checking if the recording is fine. Yeah, the recording is happening. Okay, this video will probably be around like 25 to 30 minutes of length, where we'll be studying about writing programs, really small and short programs which accepts user input. The first part of this video is all about like accepting user input via command line. So I created a class named as user input using command line. I create a main function, and probably you know what exactly this does. This is an array of type string, which actually stores up whatever you actually pass in the command line. Now say this is a simple program which actually accepts an input from the command line which is of the type integers. So I need to store those integers in the local variables what I'm going to create over here. So I'm going to pass two variables from the command line and add them up and compute the sum and store the answer in the third variable called sum. Now I say a is equal to, what do we do next? Integer dot parse int args of 0. So what is this line going to do? This line a is equal to integer dot parse int args of 0. This is going to extract the integer what you're going to pass as a command line argument, which we're going to see as a part of the execution of the program. Now we need to actually copy the second argument which I am deciding to send during the execution time from the command line. So this is args1. Fine. I actually compute the sum and store the result in a and result of a plus b in a third variable called as sum. And now as usual, system.out.println sum is equal to, that's it. So you pretty much know how does this program accept the user input from the command line, parse it from the command line, store it in a local variable, and then we write a small logic to add the two numbers. Like, this is just a very simple program. You can do whatever you want with the two inputs. This is a very simple program demonstrating how do you pass arguments from the command line. Let's compile it. Hope there are no syntax errors. No syntax errors. Good. Close it. Now I'm actually okay. Close this thing. I'm calling the main function. Now see, here it is. I'm actually going to pass the command line arguments over here. The first number what I'm going to pass is 100, and the second number what I'm going to pass is 200. That's it. Sum is equal to 300. Cool. Close it and call the main again. Pass different arguments. Let's see what happens if we pass 123, 123. We are supposed to get 246 as the output. Perfect. It's just that I have to clear the previous outputs. Clear it, close it, and run the main program. Say now I pass 1000, and the second number what I pass is like 400. So I'm going to get the sum as 1400. Close this. Yeah. Let's see the let's see the program quickly. This is the name of the class, and the class ends here. And this is the main program. In the main program, I'm just like parsing integers and then like storing them in the local variables out here, adding them up in a third variable called sum, and just printing the sum. Okay, hope this is clear to you. Now, what shall we do next? We shall see how we shall, pass decimal numbers. So I call it double over here. I make this double. Oh, parse double. Parse double. Let's see if this works. I'm just going to pass some decimal numbers as an input. Previous example, we just saw passing integers from the command line, and now we're just going to see how we're going to pass a floating point numbers or double type numbers. Compile this. Aha, cannot find parse double. Why is that? Why is that? Okay, it says it's integer over here. That's a mistake. I don't make a correction over here. Okay, now compile it. No syntax errors. Cool. Now let me actually try passing two decimal numbers as an input. Let's compile this. No syntax errors. Close it. User input using command line. Call the main. Alright. Well, now I'm supposed to pass decimal numbers. I'm actually passing 1.2 and say 2.3. It's going to get 3.5 as the output. See, 3.5. This sum is like the output from the previous thing. Alright. Call the main function once again. I'm going to pass say 2.5 comma 2.5. What do? When I pass 2.5 comma 2.5, yes, sum is equal to 5. So hope this is clear. Clear this up. Close it. Open the program. And let's see what we can do for floating point numbers. Just convert this into float. Float. As simple as that. Float. Float. I guess this works. Float. Float. So previously we did double, and much before that we did integers, and now we're just trying the same thing with float. No syntax errors. Close it. Run this. Pass 1.1 comma 3.3. You're going to get 4.4 as the output. Cool. Clear this. Close it. So what have we done until now? We have actually learned how to pass the command line arguments of type integers, of type double, of type float. Now let's try to actually pass the input, which is of type string. Okay. How are we actually going to do this using strings? Let's open up the program. Say A and B are of type string. But I have to convert. Yes. Here, I just have to assign the arguments directly to the variables. I don't have to parse them as float or parse them as integers. The reason being, look at this argument here. The argument actually is of the type string. And look at the local variables out here. The local variables out here are of the type string. So I don't have to do any kind of pre-processing using the built-in functions if I have to directly accept the strings which is passed into the program from where? The command line. So I'm going to pass strings as the argument from the command line, which is going to get stored in the array called args or args. And then I'm going to extract them and store it in the local variables. I'm going to pass two variables, two string variables, and store the sum of the two string variables in a third variable called sum. Add them up. What is this operation going to do on two strings a plus b? Just going to add the two strings, concatenate two strings, or basically mean join the two strings. If I actually say Ram and Lakshman or John and Joseph, it's just going to add up the two strings. So let's actually compile this. No syntax errors, mind you. This part of the code segment is only about like passing string arguments from the command line. Now, no syntax errors. Close it. Now, run the main function. I'm actually going to pass, say, two strings. Say, what are the two strings? Some random strings. Okay, Stargate. Star is the first word and gate is the second word. Stargate. Let me run it. See, sum is equal to Stargate. It has added up two strings. Now what do I have to do if I have to pass a third string as the argument? I just have to give C. I have to just get C is equal to args of 2. I've not done anything great here. I've just tried to pass on a third string. I made a small modification in the program. What if I actually pass a third string? How do I actually accept that third string and store it into a local variable in the main program? I've just added another local variable called as C. Mind you, local variables are the variables which is local only to this function. What is the name of this function? Main. If you write the variables within these two brackets and give a name to that function which actually is the owner of these two segment embedded in the bracket, all those variables are local. They are just local to this function. So C is local only to this function. If I try accessing C outside this function, this block over here, the yellow color block over here, I won't be able to access C. Okay, coming back to this. So we try to actually make a small modification in this program where we try to pass the third argument from the main. No syntax errors, compile it, close it. Now just try to call the main. You see, I actually try to pass, say, green Bangalore city. Mind you, every argument has to be separated by comma and they have to be embedded using double quotes. Green Bangalore city. See? Okay, let me clear the output from the previous run of the program and let me actually say okay, let me do something like, it's really cold. It's really cold. Fine. 3 words, 3 different arguments. Okay, let me remove the semicolon out here. Yeah, fine. It's is one of the word, really is another word, and cold is another word. I'm passing 3 different strings as 3 different arguments from the command line just before running the program, and I press OK. Error. It says it's expected. What's that? What's this error? Green Bangalore city. Okay, fine. Say Green Bangalore, where is city? Clear this up, close it, open this. I'm just going to pass string A, string B, and string C. Alright, why am I getting only AB? Let's open the program. It's A plus B plus C. I didn't make this, like I tried to actually pass 3 different arguments and I'm trying to add up the 3 different arguments and store it in a separate variable called sum, where this addition symbol is just going to join the strings. Now compile it, close it, open the editor. No, I can't open the editor. Yeah, now I can actually pass 3 strings. Say it's cold here. It's cold here. 3 different words which will be processed as 3 different arguments. See, it's cold here. Clear the previous output, close it, and rerun the program once again. Where is that thing? Okay, yeah. See, it's cold here. So we basically saw how to actually pass integers as arguments to the main, and we saw how do we actually pass floating point numbers, double numbers, basically decimal numbers of varying sizes, and then even pass strings as arguments to the main and accept them as a part of the program and process it from the command line. Now let's clear this up and close this thing. The last part of this video segment is all about how do we input characters. How do we input characters into the command line and then process it in the main function? A simple modification What do we do is, like, say I want to actually pass two characters and just display them. I don't want to add up the characters, I just want to display the characters. Like, this is the character I've actually passed. So I create two local variables, x and y. Excuse me. When I say x is equal to args 0 dot caret 0, this is a syntax for actually accepting a character input from the command line. If you're actually going to pass a character input, first we need to declare, okay, the variables x and y has to be of type char. We need to actually store those variables which we are going to pass from the command line into the local variables. Since we're going to pass character arguments from the command line, we need to actually store them in the character counterparts in the main program. So I say x is equal to arg0 dot caret 0. This is the syntax. We don't need this. We don't even need the next line. So I'll just get rid of this line. I don't need sum as well. I just need to, we'll get back to the print statement later. I need to store the second character argument out here in the second local variable dot caret 0. Mind you, this has to be always caret 0. We are accepting the command line arguments as a string and then extracting only the first character. This is a roundabout way of doing it. There's no straightforward way of actually accepting character inputs. This is a roundabout way. We accept them as strings. So arg0 is going to be a string, but we are actually going to only extract the first character. It doesn't mean that you have to pass on a string that is more than one character long word. We just have to pass on a character from the from the command line while executing the program, and this is the way of extracting it. So even if you actually try to take 100 command line arguments in a typical programming scenario, you wouldn't be doing it. Even if you're actually taking 100 command line arguments from before executing the program, the way you are supposed to process them by storing them in the local variables is exactly this way. Z is going to be the third variable which will be passing from the command line. It's going to be args of 2, again it's going to be character at 0. So no doubt on this. So let's actually print all the three command line variables what we have tried to pass on. So I will try to print x plus some space followed by y plus some space followed by z. So let's see what exactly is stored in x, y and z depending upon what we're going to pass from the command line. Now let me compile this program. No syntax errors. Cool. Close it. And now let's actually run the main. See, it's accepting, it's waiting for us to input. I pass capital A as a first argument, separated by a comma. I pass small c as a second argument, and I actually pass capital D as a third argument. A, C and D, or probably I'll keep it like A, B, A small b and capital C. I'm actually trying to pass three different characters enclosed within double quotes as a command line argument as an input to this program. Now let's see. Okay, see, we are trying to print the values stored in x, y and z, which is printing A, B and C. That's what we passed right now. Now let's actually rerun the program by passing something else here. Say I pass S, then I say O, save our souls, SOS. Okay, the SAS message or save our souls message. Now let me click OK. See, SOS. As simple as that. So this is a program where we actually declare three local variables of type character, try to actually store them in the local variables, and this is a syntax for actually accepting the characters which is passed as an argument from the command line. Hope it was clear, and let me actually pause this video And that's it for now. See you back in the next video where I'll be speaking about how do we actually process the input from the user using scanner classes. And that's it for now. Goodbye.